Hello, everyone. This is FX Feeney. I'm an American film critic, and I'm sitting here with Michael Cimino, and we're about to talk about The Deer Hunter.
A special hello to my old friends and old loves in the UK.
You know, it's interesting, Michael. We were talking about this earlier. Although Universal is a very familiar logo, the real company that produced it, EMI, and that's a British company, which is very fitting because we're speaking to listeners and audience members in the UK. Could you talk about that, about EMI?
EMI actually produced the movie. EMI actually financed the movie. It is generally not known that The Deer Hunter could not have been made by an American movie at that time because it was thought there was no audience for this kind of movie then.
Specifically a movie dealing with the Vietnam War.
Yes, America was going through the same kind of political frenzy that the UK is now experiencing over Iraq. And there was great debate and then a great lull. And The Deer Hunter was kind of released on the cusp of the 80s, the Reagan era. There was simply thought not to be an audience. And it was the foresight of a great man in England, Lord Delfont, Bernie Delfont at EMI, who had enough faith in a verbal presentation that I made of the movie. There was not even a script. I spent an hour and a half telling the story of this picture, and Bernie, God bless him, gave approval to go ahead with this movie.
I must say, this is a wonderful opening shot every time I see it. Just the thing I like most about it is it's just got so much energy, and we're moving through this tunnel, and here's this truck shedding sparks, which you think, okay, is this a movie about the truck? No, but it's, in a way, the sparks foretell what we're about to hit a second from here. One of the things that's most powerful is that these fellows are working in this iron foundry. Could you talk about just, what you knew about iron foundries going in and how you settled upon this as the background for this story?
Well, it's steel. What you're looking at is molten steel. You're looking at a machine that actually taps the furnace, which is kind of like a big jug with a clay plug in the bottom, and the machine that you just saw literally drills a hole in that plug, and the molten steel comes flowing out. All of this is absolutely real. We were able to get permission to tap a furnace. This is an old plant actually outside of Cleveland, the interior. And you're watching the actual actors in the actual fire suits tapping a real furnace. This is all real time, no effects, no stunt doubles.
How long or what kind of preparation did it take to get De Niro and Chuck Aspergren and John Cazale and Christopher Walken to be able to tap an iron? Did you work extensively for weeks in advance?
No, because it was, at that time, that's the machine that taps the furnace. It's going back in to seal it now. At that time, it was very difficult to even get into a steel mill with a film crew because of the environmental protection laws. Through the intercession of Jay Rockefeller in West Virginia, we were able actually to finally make some headway. The steel mills then were very sensitive because they were emitting smoke only at night when it couldn't be seen during the day, and the insurance problems were horrendous. So that it was a last minute.
Wow.
There was no preparation. This is a real locker room in a real mill, a working mill. In fact, Bob's hat that he's wearing there is a hat I bought off a steelworker in a bar. That's not aged by a prop man. That's the real thing.
Huh.
Give us a call right after my wife knows. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you. I'm sorry. So what happened? Go get your ass Good. Okay. Hey. Say, Mike, take care of yourself. Good luck. You didn't have any trouble. Go a few for me, too.
And those are all real steel workers. Those are not extras.
Yeah, the feeling of authenticity is tremendous, and it holds particularly well between the friends. I mean, Chuck Aspergren, I guess, is not who's playing Axel in the background there. He's not a professional actor. He's somebody you.
No, Chuck was the foreman at a steel plant in Gary, Indiana, and Bobby and I went there. I was showing Bob some steel plants. This was prior to shooting, prior to casting even, because Bob was the first one cast in the movie, and. We introduced Bob by the name of his agent, and Harry Ufflin, and Chuck didn't know who the hell he was, and he didn't know who I was. He just thought we were two guys who he had to show around the mill, and he showed us the whole mill, and things were exploding all around us. Steel was hitting puddles, and there were great holes in the roof, and we went to a bar, because the bars are open 24 hours in Gary, because they've got 3 shifts. They never shut down. And Bobby nudged me at one point and said, "Mike, why don't you ask him if he wants to play Axelby in the movie?" And I said, "You want him in the movie?" He said, "Yeah, let's ask him if he'd do the movie." So I said, "Chuck, how'd you like to be in a movie?" He said, "Who are you guys?" And we told him. He said, "Well, if you're crazy enough to ask, I'm crazy enough to do it."
Gosh.
There he is.
There he is. And that's an answer perfectly in character.
They went from foreman at a U.S. steel plant in Gary, Indiana, to movie star. There he is, right at home.
Gosh. And the feeling between the men is really great. You really feel a strong sense of their friendship. They must have just gotten close over the whole shoot. Did you encourage that, or how did you get them to bond with each other?
Oh, there's so many ways. They're all carrying a wallet in their back pocket that has a group photo of the 5 of them when they were all very young kids. They've all got real driver's licenses from Pennsylvania. They've got a complete identity in their pocket, which you never see, but they're carrying it nevertheless.
And they know it.
They know it.
That's great.
They've got their identity in their hip pocket.
I do. Oh my God.
This is a place called Squirrel Hill in Pittsburgh, which overlooks all of the old mills. Now, there's an immediate cut here. The interior of the church is in Cleveland. This was shot in 7 cities to make one city, Clairton. The reason being that many of the great steel mills have been torn down and sold to Japan. And all that remains on the river in the real Clairton is a bed of gravel about 10 miles long on the river. The steel was long ago shipped to Japan to be recycled as automobiles sent back to America. So in order to create one town, we had to shoot in 4 states and 7 cities. And this church in Cleveland, which is a real Russian Orthodox church, St. Theodosius, is an exact replica of St. Theodosius outside of Moscow, 3 miles outside of Moscow. And the church is covered with beautiful frescoes on the inside, and it is now a National Historic Monument in the U.S. Now here, we're in Steubenville, Ohio, where Dean Martin was born. So you can see that the production was very complex. The interiors and the exteriors are rarely in the same place.
And it's wonderful because it feels seamless. One of the strongest feelings that I always have about this film is the strong sense of place. You always know where you are, and we'll come back to Welsh's bar a couple of times during the film, and it's like I feel like if I closed my eyes, I could find it.
That bar is constructed. That was not there, and the reason we built that bar out of detail accumulated through the recce's. Simply because it was at the end of the street from the main gate of this particular mill. So we copied a bar from another place. This is all constructed. It's not on a soundstage. It's on that street and the actual interior of that building, but this is all built, every single part of it, every single detail. Now you can see Bob's hat.
Yeah.
In great detail.
Let's go.
Hey, I got $100. Says the Eagles never cross a 50 in the next half.
And the Steelers win by 1.
Christopher Walken, you must have been aware of him from stage work. This is his first major role.
His first movie ever. He was a chorus boy off-Broadway on a Liza Minnelli musical called Flora the Red Menace. That's the exterior of St. Theodosius. You see, we cut from Steubenville, Ohio, and now we're in Cleveland. And those are really ladies from the parish of St. Theodosius. And they made that cake. That's not a prop cake. That's a real cake.
It's great. You know, it's funny, there's a misapprehension about your work often that people say, well, you know, Termino works in very stately, composed, steady shots, you know, whereas, you know, Scorsese is always keeping the camera moving. And I'm thinking, man, this camera is moving so much, but it's doing it, it's always form-following function. On one hand, you got the ladies with the cake, now the bridesmaids. And
look, it's moving.
Here we go. Yeah.
It's Ford's old point, really, which the camera should not draw attention to itself.
Joe, maybe we could use some more flags.
Is that all right?
Up a bit, I would say. Wouldn't you say so? No.
Now, those are real photos of Chris and John and Bob.
They're high school.
They're high school photos. And again, nobody's an actor here. These are all real people from the church. And this is a real reception hall for Russian-American weddings in Cleveland that hadn't seen a wedding in 25-odd years. Now we're immediately back in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and this comes back to the thing I was about to say before when we saw Ratiana Alda putting on her wedding dress, and here we have Meryl Streep basically in her screen debut. I mean, she'd played small parts before, but never anything so major. And Linda, the character she plays here, is I think kind of an archetype that you revisit in Heaven's Gate and elsewhere, which is the sort of the woman of the West. Even though it's Western Pennsylvania, she's basically someone who has to fend for herself in a kind of rough landscape. And the solitude and the isolation of women, you know, is a very strong theme. It's certainly in Heaven's Gate and here and elsewhere. Also, You're the Dragon.
Well, of course, all of the women from the West had to come from the East, just as John Ford came from Maine to Monument Valley. Everyone in the West came from somewhere else, usually from the East. And they were extraordinary women. Some of the greatest untold stories in the history of the American West are the story of women and their courage. It is not known that many women committed suicide simply because of being left alone and never sure if the man was going to ever return. This is quite a special scene for me.
And it's one of the first of several, so to speak, musical moments, big musical moments, and it's
been copied endlessly.
Copied endlessly now, of course. But, you know, one difference between this and, say, the other scenes in Top Gun and such is that here, this is the feeling of real time. You know, we get so used to a certain kind of MTV kind of cutting now in the 90s and now in the turn of the 21st century that here, these guys are moving directly to the rhythm of the song. You had this playing on the actual jukebox? You didn't lay in the track?
Yeah, most musicals have always been and are now still, and as well as music videos, are done to what's called click tracks in Hollywood, which is basically the rhythm of the music. So, for example, if you had a rap beat, we bop, 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 people would be actually dancing to a click track. And then the music laid in later, largely because people don't know what music they want or what the music's going to be. I always have the music playing there on the set or on the location, and I work in real time so that the cutting and the performance has the energy that's inherent in the music. Nothing is slid. The pictures are not slid. That's why they're in such perfect sync. And that's why most musical sequences, even in the best videos today, are often out of sync and have no energy because it's all laid in. This is not laid in. It's the real dialogue over the real playing of the track on the set, and then sweetened with additional mixing of the track again later in the sound process.
Yeah, and it's beautiful because I think the reason why this scene is so much copied is it gives you the whole history of their friendship kind of in the present tense. Don't need a flashback to know how close they are. We see it all, you know? They know the same song. They're all on the same page.
Christ!
Тянет сердце to do this to your own mother, who prays for you all her life. Chubby, is your heart so cruel, so unfeeling? You marry this girl, you leave her with me?
I'm using reference to the Steelers and the Eagles in there, too. When
Yeah.
John Casale says the Eagles quarterback wears a dress.
Now that actress Shirley Stoller playing the mother, she was the camp commandant in Seven Beauties, as I recall.
And she's still the camp commandant. I think she was born to be one.
Yeah, wonderful dynamics in this scene.
You don't wear a scarf with a tuxedo. I'm not gonna wear a scarf with a tuxedo.
Durak!
Now this is Weirton, West Virginia. So that you can see just between the trailer and the exterior of the mill is Weirton, West Virginia, which is one state. The bar they were just in is in Steubenville, Ohio. Church is in Cleveland. The bowling alley's in Youngstown.
Wow.
And it gives you some idea of the production difficulties. And this trailer actually didn't exist. This trailer is a copy of a gas station that I shot in Montana. They had Polaroids taken of, and we reconstructed it and put it on this site because it had the mill in the background.
You trying to look like a prince?
What do you mean, trying?
And an amusing thing happened when we came into this town, which is almost 100% black. When we were scouting locations and we pulled up to this site, it was a vacant lot where the trailer is right here. This was vacant.
Yeah.
And I said, well, God, this looks like a perfect place to put the trailer. And we were all there taking Polaroids and things. There's 6 squad cars of police pulled up and surrounded us. And it was like, hands up. And we said, whoa, what have we done? And they said, well, we got a report of a bunch of white guys prowling around town. And I just cracked up.
That's great.
Some black person called and said there's a bunch of white guys.
Yeah, and you must have been a suspicious-looking crew, too.
Yeah.
Yep. This scene is always, I particularly love this, the great dynamic between these guys, and it establishes it in his talk about the trees.
I'm thinking about the deer. Going on. I like the trees, you know? I like the way the trees are in the mountains, all different.
Interesting thing, and it's very difficult to get all of these things in, but when you notice the exterior, this is meant to be fall, hunting season.
Yes, right.
Now, this happened to be shot in the hottest summer in about 30 years in Pittsburgh. You're looking at a scene shot in heat. And it was about 130 degrees. These actors were so hot in the inside of this trailer that literally between takes had to change their clothes because they were pouring sweat. And every single camera angle, every exterior had to be exfoliated of green leaves and the grass made brown to look like fall. So that one had to know, even on a moving shot, here, you can see the bare trees. You had to know exactly, you can't move that camera 2 degrees or 1 degree to the left or right because it'll be summer, flowers and greenery. So you had to know every single shot, whether it was a moving shot or a still shot, you had to know every angle so that you would never have a leaf or a flower or blade of green grass give away the fact, you see the bare branches?
Right.
That had to be done by hand.
Makes me feel safe.
You can see, now you had to know, look, every leaf is brown or removed.
Yeah.
See all the dead leaves, they had to be put there. You would never know it's 120 degrees out there, although you can see the girl's hair is a bit limp.
Yeah.
Come on, sit up. Oh, Jerome, that's cold. Here, put this on. You have to have that on. crummy tuxedos. The tuxedo's been stuck a million times. Where'd you get this thing? Oh, you're not funny.
You're exceptional in one sense that you don't ever use storyboards. You actually draw a floor plan. You basically drew a floor plan of the trailer, the road, like a surveyor's schematics, and figured out what would be, in the field of vision for the camera.
That's because of, I think, my training as an architect. I never intended to be a filmmaker. Here, see, even on a moving shot.
Right.
You see every tree is bare, every blade. Look at how much this shot. This is a shot with a 30, which is my favorite lens. Basically, I can do a whole movie with a 30 and a 10-to-1 zoom, which is pretty much what is used on this whole movie. Look how all that shot takes in. Like when I play golf, I could play the whole game. Somebody once said, with a 5-iron and a putter, I can shoot a whole movie with a 30 and a 10-to-1.
Sure.
I'd want to pay you both. And I was thinking...
What are you talking about?
Here, too, I must say this was a wonderful choice of leaving them outside, partly because their affair is not to be, as we know from seeing the movie, but it also emphasizes the gradual isolation of his point of view. I mean, in other words, that Michael is a man apart from the rest of the crowd. That's just something that it's a gradual developing thing.
Here's the Magnificent Wedding.
Oh, yeah.
A Russian wedding.
Don't mean to be the acolyte asking John Ford, how'd you get that shot? But it's just,
With a camera.
Yeah.
It's the real priest of the parish, by the way. This is really was such a pleasure for me to do because Russian wedding music is the most beautiful wedding music that there is on the face of the earth. This is the real choir singing in Slavonic. The whole ceremony is Slavonic. That's Ken, the actual choir director, who's still a friend, and George Zunza is actually singing in Slavonic. There you see the frescoed interior of the church. And there's a wonderful little sign on the stairwell to the choir loft which says, if you don't show up for rehearsal, don't show up for Mass. And one of the reasons I took such pleasure in this is that I was best man at a wedding just like this.
For a friend named Nicanor
Chebatarovich,
like Christopher Walken's character.
Well, that's where it comes from. And I held that crown that Chris will hold in a moment, and I can tell you it weighs about 25 pounds and is damn hard to hold. It was so heavy my hand began wavering, and this lovely Russian girl had to come out from the first pew and she wrapped her handkerchief around the crown because it was slipping in my hand. You do have to hold it throughout the whole ceremony.
I love that look that De Niro gives Stanley at that moment.
You see, I knew to put the handkerchief.
Yeah.
You notice he has a handkerchief.
Yeah.
Now, that is hard to hold.
Oh, man. When I first saw this film, I didn't know anything about what to expect. I mean, all I had was the title, which I liked. It was a poetic and evocative title. But when they started to walk around 3 times with this crown, I thought, man, I have never seen a movie like this before. Partly because the rhythm of it, I love reading novels, and this struck me as the most novelistic American film. It was the most novelistic film I'd seen up to that date. And I have not even seen a European film that goes for this kind of rhythm and timing until I saw The Leopard, directed by Luchino Visconti, where where you take the time to let things unfold and you have the courage of letting people interact as people.
Well, it's also working with the real, again, it's the music in real time. It's the choir music in real time. So that part of the reason that it sustains itself is because musically it's correct. That music track is not all cut up. It's not a lot of bits and pieces. It's one sustained, there's several choral pieces used in its entirety. So it has two energies. It's the energy of the performance and the energy of the music. And each one lends a certain synergy to the other.
It reminds me of something that you've said in other conversations where, you talk about what you do is you try to get the actors together, you create the reality, and then you do a documentary about the characters.
My feeling about this movie is it's a home movie. I feel like I'm watching a home movie that I shot of guys that I know. To me, it's not, it looks like a home movie. Like I'm watching a movie of my past, not a movie that I made that's fictional, but a real home movie in the sense of the word home movie.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably articulate that better than I.
No, I get you exactly. And in fact, I mean, because of the attention to detail, I think it evokes everyone's, or, I think it evokes a sort of universal sense of home, because all the tensions that are going on between the people, they're not movie tensions, it's life tensions. I mean, you see Nick and Linda are, in love, but then there's Michael off to one side, and he and Linda have a stronger pull, and that's so lifelike, and you don't overemphasize it. It's not melodramatic. It's simply the little tidal pulls between people. And by allowing those things time to be, they actually gain ground. They actually get more attention than they would if you had emphasized them.
Now, here, this room has exactly 200 people in it. And again, this music is the actual music playing. And these people are dancers from 3 different parishes. Real Russian Americans from that community, and I think one is St. Michael, St. Theodosius, and I forgot the third. But we chose the best dancers. And these people love dancing so much that every time I said cut, they would boo. Because they wanted to dance. And of course, Chris being a dancer and Meryl being a great dancer, both of them. A lot of people don't know that Meryl is a sensational dancer and singer. The reason I cast her is I went to see Brecht's Happy End at Brooklyn Academy at BAM, and she was doing a last-minute replacement of Shirley Knight on 3 days' notice. She had done it previously at Yale, and you can see how well she and Chris do here. And the food is food made by all of those old ladies. Yeah. The stuffed cabbage and the kielbasa and everything else is all stuff they made. They brought it in, and I let people really drink here. They're really drinking real beer, real booze, real Kessler, real scotch. Everybody was quite drunk. I mean, they're really getting drunk here.
I see it. Yeah. One can feel it in a good way. It's that home movie quality. I mean, even just the second or two you stopped on the guy stuffing his face with pasta. It's so
lifelike. It's not pasta. It's stuffed cabbage.
Stuffed cabbage. Oh, my apologies. And even the lovely little touch with the sad-eyed girl.
Well, there's always a girl like that, isn't there?
Yeah. Victoria Karnoffel, I guess was the name of that actress.
No, she's not an actress.
Oh.
There's no actors here except the principals, and even Axel, remember, is a steel worker. Nobody's an actor here. George is completely pissed here. Completely gone.
everybody's really enjoying themselves. They're very comfortable on camera. Do you find it a difficulty? I mean, I'm thinking of young filmmakers who might be listening to this wondering, how do you work with non-professionals so successfully? Is it getting them drunk, or is it other things?
No, you treat them professionally.
For a buck, you get a shooter, a cigar, and a dance with the beautiful bride.
You see all those gifts? Now, those gifts are not put there by any prop man. I told the AD before we did this sequence, I said, I don't want fake-looking prop gifts. I said, he said, what do you want? I said, tell all the people that we cast, the real people from the parish, who are wearing their own clothes. George is really gone here. I said, just get an empty box, but wrap it the way you would a gift that you would bring to a wedding. So they did. So each person who came to the wedding brought a gift. And just before we began filming this, the AD came over to me and said, Michael, he said, everybody brought a gift. And I said, well, we told them to. He said, you don't understand. They didn't just bring a box. There's really gifts inside the boxes. I said, what do you mean? He said, they bought things. They went out and bought toasters and appliances and silverware and china, and they think they're at a real wedding. So they came to this bringing real gifts, having cooked the real food, drinking the real booze, dancing to the real music. That's the real band. That's the band who plays. It's not laid in, again, it's not laid in music. Good old Joe Grafassi did an admirable job here.
Yeah, the MC. Yeah.
MC. And
who also runs the supermarket elsewhere in the film.
And also, you see, because part of the reason for the energy, in addition to working with the music in real time, is that you allow people to actually make noise. In movies, they ask people to clap but don't make sound, to talk but don't speak.
Right.
To look like you do. I tried one just to see how fake these real people could be. It was astonishing. We did one take where they were not allowed to make noise as if it were a real movie so you could hear the actors' dialogue. They were as fake as any SCG extras. The only thing is, if you work that way, you have to know exactly where you want your dialogue because you can't change it later. So it's a question of knowing what you want and where you want it, and then you can work with real sound. If you don't, you get a fake. Even with real people, it can be extremely fake. That's not staged. That's not a stage fall. It's really happening. Well, the guy's a pretty soused here. And the girls, too. And again, this is all real singing, real playing, real clapping.
And You're Just Too Good to Be True, the song they all sang along to in the bar, is now being reiterated from the stage.
Frankie Valli.
You want me to dance? You want me to dance? Hey,
You know, at the end of this, there was the little old man that you see at the beginning wearing the VFW hat.
Right.
Old Russian man.
Yes.
That man.
Is he listing there in the background?
Yeah, the one that's so drunk he can't see. He doesn't even know if he's breathing. I found him sitting on the stage. We called a wrap. It was midday, and the place was completely empty. And that little man was sitting on the stage with a glass of half-empty beer, and he was crying quietly. And I said, "What's wrong?" I went over to him, and he said, "It was such a beautiful wedding." For that community, it was a real wedding. They still celebrate it in that town. I get letters from the church.
No kidding.
And they celebrate it as if it were a wedding that happened 25 years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
They mark it as a real marriage.
Yeah, and in a sense, one can see
it is
why
a real
not.
Marriage.
It is because, after all, I mean,
how many marriages last 25 years?
That's right.
I'm not the greatest dancer in the world.
You're okay.
I am not.
No, you're very fancy.
If you're part of that community, I mean, if it was made in my hometown or yours,
You
I mean,
mark your life by that movie being made.
yeah,
Especially if you're in it.
Yeah, because you own a copy and you
Yes.
probably watch it from time to time, maybe once a year. Is
And
exactly.
you're in it.
Yeah.
That's a Rolling Rock. That's a good beer. It's the best around.
Huh? Yeah, okay.
Rolling Rock?
Yeah.
Be right back.
There they are. There's John knocking it back. Good old Kessler. I think we made Rolling Rock famous because nobody knew about Rolling Rock beer before
Right.
we made this movie.
I know. I was going to say now it's almost it almost sounds like a product placement, but then it was like nobody had heard of it. And in
No,
fact, I remember we were all saying, "Geez, what's that beer? Let's go have some."
We used it because that's the drink. You order a Rolling Rock. I'll have a Rolling Rock and a Kessler, which is Rolling Rock and this really gruesome cheap brandy. And you used to drink what was called a submarine in the bar, which is you float a shot glass and a glass of beer, and you fill the shot glass with brandy, and then you try to drink it together.
Why?
It's a difficult thing to do. It's
Yeah.
a difficult maneuver. There's Bob with the Kessler and the Rolling Rock, and it's all for real. There's 3 days of drinking and dancing. There it goes. That's a real shot of real Kessler and a chaser of Rolling Rock.
Practice has to cross himself. It's wonderful too, I mean, loving these actors in many different roles over the years to come back to them. It's almost like seeing their home movies. I mean, see how, beautiful De Niro and Walken and Streep and Savage, just how beautiful they are in their youth. It's great. Youth and beauty again.
Gustave Courbet painting.
Yeah.
Stab you. Stab you.
You want to fucking fight?
First.
Yeah, the first chill.
This is a recreation of a moment that happened between an uncle of mine at a wedding, a family wedding, where he went out and slugged his wife dancing with someone.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Now John Cazale, what a wonderful actor, and this is his last movie. He passed away right after it was completed.
John, sadly, underneath that shirt and tux is a great big red circle with the crosshairs in the middle where he got radiation. He was dying. He's dying as you watch this. At that time, he and Meryl were living together and deeply in love. And at one time, I was told to fire John because when they found out he had inoperable cancer, they didn't want to take the risk. And I refused to fire him. I said I would not fire him because it would destroy that was the shot.
He's so vital in this role. You would never know that about him. I mean, he's so full of spirit. And
he died shortly after making the movie. You'll see later when they're in the mountains and he's walk around in that tuxedo and the fur hat looking at the flowers. And
viewers, remember him from The Godfather and Dog Day Afternoon, but this is really...
Well, The Godfathers, were made before I made my first movie. I mean, the first Godfather. And so I didn't really know who John was until much later. You can see how much beer we consumed just against that back wall there.
This thing's crazy. This thing's crazy. It's Green Beret. Hey!
Well, kid.
Woo!
Jerry, give the man a drink.
He's a wonderful actor.
Yes.
His name is Paul D'Amato.
Sir.
Sir.
Sir. Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie.
Zdrowie.
Don't cause any kind of problem.
I love this scene. You know, we've gotten so into these guys, and now it's like the outside world blows in. And, you know, people talk about this as a Vietnam movie. Of course, it's Vietnam as the setting. It's the first film to be made about that. But I always felt that you were operating on a different level, that it's about any war. You're trying to create a very specific sense of home and a sense of an ordeal that's out there in the world that's waiting for these guys as it waits for everybody. I mean, as we are cutting this, you know, there's a war going on in Iraq in which British soldiers and American soldiers are fighting together and
dying together.
And the ordeals are never ending. And it seemed that was where you were really trying to operate. Am I correct in feeling that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. People think that war is the aberration. I've always taken the view that throughout the recorded history of man, which is roughly 6,000 years, that peace is the aberration, because the world has always had war going on at some part. Peace is the aberration, and not the other way around. People get it backwards, I think. And it is not meant to be a Vietnam movie. It never was. And I think that's one of the reasons it continues to be shown and continues to have any vibrancy, because it's exactly what you say it is. That it's about the ordeal waiting for everyone out in the world. And this is a movie of 3 hours and 40-odd minutes, only 20 of which are set within the combat arena. And that only occurs in the exact middle of the movie. The rest of it is all Clairton, Pennsylvania. And it's about growing up. It's about creating a family when you have no family. It's about a family of friends is as valid as any family related by blood. And this is something that we're experiencing now in America, where the so-called nuclear family is largely gone. And kids today create their own family from their peers. This movie was just a bit ahead of its time, just as Meryl did something that was largely unthinkable then, which is a single girl in a small town living with two men in a trailer. If you think about it, even now it's kind of still, certain areas pretty risque, you know.
And even more, you know, you're feeling that she's actually, you have a very strong sense, very well developed from the beginning, that she's in love with both of them, and yet...
Oh, she is.
Well, yes, but as David Lean said about dealing with adultery, you know, you have to somehow win the audience's heart over to the adultery, that somehow the audience has to forgive it. And I felt that you operate on such a level that you completely understand that she's in love with both of these guys, and you don't feel that she's being easy, or, you know, there's something just she's living her true life. I mean, the way we all must, you know, and different kinds of attractions come in.
Someone a lot wiser than I said, every love affair involves three people.
Well, what I mean is if we get back to you. I mean, when we get back. I don't know what the hell I mean.
What goes through your mind comes out your mouth.
Angela and Stephen, if you don't spill a drop, it's good luck for the rest of your life. Hey, Doña. Hey, Doña. Hey, Doña. Hey, Doña.
This is a detail I happened to see at a Serbian wedding during the numerous recce's. I watched this happen, and I said, what is the purpose of the double cup? And they told me that if a drop is spilled, it's bad luck, and if a drop is not spilled, it's good luck. And so I immediately plugged that into the story.
Oh, it's beautiful. You know, lends a sense of fate, as the Green Beret does.
And that was copied in Schindler's List, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that people might not realize, because the film has been much imitated. Also, times change and cultural things change. At the time this was made in the 70s, there was a widespread rebellion against ritual. Everybody was trying to basically find all kinds of their own rituals, and you were hearkening back to the traditions. That Thomas Merton, I think it was, made a great distinction between tradition and convention. He said convention and conventional thinking, convention is dead, whereas tradition is a living thing that you can pass down. And it seemed like you had homed in on the traditions of these people, and it was really refreshing in 1978 to see a movie that actually could cherish tradition in a way that made it contagious. And so now, you see a lot of movies that imitate the rituals and so on that you do here. So this doesn't have the sort of shock value, oddly enough, that this film, may have had. I think for audiences in 1978, people weren't used to these traditions anymore, and you kind of reawakened that.
Well, you have to be careful when you generalize about America, because when people in the media, such as yourself, or someone like my friend Gore Vidal, talk about America, they're always talking from California or New York, specifically L.A. and New York City. But very, very rarely do they talk from Fort Worth, Kansas City, St. Louis, Cleveland. None of them have ever been to Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
I dare say Gore doesn't even know where it is on the map. And they don't understand a lot of America. They understand Los Angeles culture and New York culture. That is not America. We are seeing that now with George Bush. We're seeing that now in the debate going on about Iraq. The feeling in America is not what it is in Los Angeles and New York. It's quite different.
Well, with that in mind, I speak as one, not at the time I was fresh out of New Jersey from a town not very close to the Pennsylvania border, so I felt very much at home with these characters. But I think one thing that was very gratifying for all the people that I knew in New Jersey and later knew in Pennsylvania and so on was the feeling that here on the big screen, one was seeing traditions affirmed in a way that they had not been in a Hollywood movie in maybe 20 years at this point, or at least 15 years. Because I think you're right about the schism between the coasts and the heartland.
Traditions and myth are what make life bearable. As Joe Campbell said, what is religion but a search for metaphors? I mean, myths, religion, tradition are ways of making life palatable.
And marking it, too, because part of the feeling with the real time and so on, there's a conversation coming up where the line is, it all goes so fast. That feeling that it's all going so fast. I think, the key line.
It does go so fast.
Yeah.
It's over in an eye blink, and that's why.
That's another reason they have rituals.
It's over in a heartbeat.
What the hell is he doing?
I gotta talk to you.
Critics at the time this movie came out didn't know how to handle the beautiful sort of intimacy between these guys, which is, not sexual, but is very simply emotional.
It's absurd to talk about sexual. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, it is absurd, but people, as I say, couldn't handle it at the time. But now I think, actually, again, this is where I think you were ahead of the times. People now can understand and look at a movie where two guys are this relaxed with each other, just this comfortable in their own skins.
They love each other. They love each other. They're friends. They're buddies. They'll give up their lives for each other. That's not sex.
No.
It's ridiculous.
Think we'll ever come back? From that? Yeah. You know something? The whole thing. It's right here.
And here's that line we were discussing. It's right here, right now. It goes so fast.
Right.
If anything happens, Mike, don't leave me over there. You gotta. Just don't leave me. You gotta promise me that, Mike.
Yeah, don't leave me.
Don't leave me.
Oh, man, you gotta promise, definitely.
Hey, Nicky. Huh? You got it, pal.
And he doesn't.
He doesn't. No.
He doesn't. He doesn't. This is a great Cascade Range in Washington State, one of the most magnificent mountain ranges on the whole North American continent.
Yeah, close by Mount Rainier and so on, and Mount Hood.
Actually, we were shooting, the cabin is between two peaks, one called Mount Baker and the other Mount Shuksan in the Cascade Range. You hear the singing the Airborne.
Yes.
Airborne song, which is
Glory Road to Glory.
Appropriate of what's going on today. The Airborne is now in Iraq.
Yeah. And it's just so beautiful the way these characters are drawn. I mean, there's Stanley, played by Cazal, in the back with the world's worst hangover, having to listen to the Airborne song. And it's funny, too, the development between, say, Stanley and Michael, because they're the enemies here. I mean, even within a small circle of intimate friends, there are these two guys who are constantly squaring off, and I sort of feel like Stanley is this sort of failed alpha male. He's a guy who's, I mean, this goes back to something conversations you and I have had about being afraid to get hurt, and there's it's in the context of Little Lines where Stanley is just...
Well, this is the pack,
yeah.
and Bob is clearly the alpha wolf, and like any pack, there's a leader, and if you watch a wolf pack, you'll see the alpha wolf act just as Bob acts. They'll nip the other one and bite it.
Oh, I just barely got a chance to shake it off. Hey, come on!
All this is one shot, by the way, which I love. And from a distance, I think one thing that a lot of American filmmakers have forgotten how to do is scenes that are done from a distance.
Play.
Yeah.
Ford was the last great exponent of that in America. You just let something happen in space. You just need to be in the right space to let things play at a distance. It's perfectly okay.
All this
it's
is
all one.
Yeah,
it's all in one, and the joke, and it's comedy.
Yeah, and it's also universal too, because it's like
we used to do this all the time when we went hunting. When I used to go hunting, we did this constantly. We'd leave somebody stranded before I gave it up. But
right.
When I used to hunt, we did this.
This old trick. I mean, it's the
I can't tell you.
Got something on your tie. Zip.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I did this growing up.
Well, and I think everybody has, and and usually after pissing on a bunch of trees. So it all, you're dealing in very, very international, universal ingredients, and so in a sense, because the scene is familiar, it especially plays out beautifully from a distance with the landscape itself being the dominant thing.
And also, after having been cloistered in Clairton, Pennsylvania, and in the fiery steel mills and in the dance halls and within the church, now you're open to nature and the great mountain range, and you want the landscape to begin to speak to you. You want to begin to touch something greater than man now. Here. They're ascending. This is an ascent. We started with fire flowing down below, and now we're moving up. We're ascending.
This is not it. They changed No kidding. Somehow they changed it.
Like this happens every goddamn year. You're full of shit, Stanley.
Who did you say?
And this is how I remember John, because I thought of this man who was dying, smelling the flowers. I'd catch him between takes, just smelling the mountain flowers.
I like to starve myself. Keeps the fear up.
There's a nice little piece of dialogue. I like to starve myself. Keeps the fear up.
Well,
all these guys
that's what I do.
Yeah.
That's my...
the autobiographical line.
Right, that's the auto line. Also, one shot.
Yeah, one shot.
This is what we used to do. I can't believe we did this. It's horrible.
Twinkies and mustard.
Twinkies and mustard. We actually did this. God.
Yeah, the Twinkies and mustard and the
Bologna.
Oh, the bologna.
And beer.
And beer.
Come on, give me a beer, man. Come on.
I can't believe you guys. What the hell am I doing with you?
This is not it. They changed it. Somehow they changed it.
You couldn't find your own ass with two hands.
Fucking A.
This is maybe the moment to remark on the fact that this white Cadillac has survived Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, your first film. Here it is here. Yeah. We saw it in Desperate Hours, did we? And certainly in Sun Chaser, yes.
Yeah, it's the archetypical American. It's like James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, Elvis, Harleys, Indian motorcycles, and a '59 Caddy. Doesn't get better.
Come on! What the fuck are you doing? That was mine, you asshole!
In a food fight, I mean, we saw this with Belushi, right? Or in Animal House.
Yeah. Well, it's around the same time, but oddly enough, those films were made around the same time. But
preceded it.
Right. That it did. And again, it's also done lightly. It's not, it's just part of the general bantering and joshing.
It's getting cold, huh? Hey, Mike, you got any extra thermal socks?
You'll see when Bob unzips this, that sling on the rifle I also bought off a trucker in a bar, because I didn't see that in any shop, and that wasn't made. But if you look at the design of it,
it's got an American Eagle on it.
It's got an American Eagle on it, and I just bought it off a guy. So we only had one sling and one hat.
Anybody see my boots? Somebody took my boots. I bought them special. All right, you guys, whoever took my boots, I want them back.
I got a boot for you, Stan. Yeah. Right up your ass.
Everything feels so lived in. Chris Walken's hat with its little red light on it, which I guess hunters have to wear so they don't get shot after dark.
Well, now they use that glow tape.
Right.
They put, in some states, the farmers paint their cows saying, "I am a cow, do not shoot," in hunting season.
Some fucking friend. You're some fucking friend, you know that?
Gotta learn, Stanley. Every time you come up here, you got your goddamn head up your ass.
Here's the leader squaring off against the Chooch, the goat.
Every time he comes up, he's got no knife, he's got no jacket, he's got no pants, he's got no boots.
A great sling.
Yeah.
But you see, even a thing like a rifle sling becomes part of the visual tapestry of the movie. And that's why everything you choose to put in front of the camera, whether it's the car, a rifle sling, the hat, is part of the texture as much as is the place. It's all part of what cameramen think they've done, what you've done before they've ever shown up. They only work on a movie for 10 or 12 weeks. You've worked on it for 2 years. All of this is determined regardless of who the cameraman is. So they get a little carried away. They're now not called cameramen anymore. They're called directors of photography. Dear old Vilmos, sorry about that, but you are a cameraman.
Bullshitters, that's some faggot sounding.
Hey, shut up, Stan, will you? Hey, man, you're out of line. Watch out with that gun, Stan.
This time,
watch out with
you
the
know
gun.
what I think? You know what I think? There's times I swear I think you're a fucking faggot.
Hey, come on, you guys.
Last week he could have had that new red-headed waitress at the Bowlerdrome. He could have had it knocked, and look what he did. Look what he fucking did. Nothing.
You notice how the aerial is bent a bit on the car?
Right. And just a nice touch of the wedding decorations still clinging to the car. I mean, it's an authentic touch. I mean, there was a wedding the night before, but...
Well, they were all so drunk they would never think to remove it.
Right, but it's also just... It just seals their fate as a pack of friends, too,
I said no.
What, you gonna shoot me? Huh? Yeah.
Oh, that was the terrible irony. He opened his shirt at the exact place of the crosshairs of the red gun sight drawn on his chest for the radiation treatments. I didn't know he was going to do that. He did that with some strange prefiguration of his own death. Terribly sad. This cabin I had built in Pittsburgh, painted, aged, taken apart piece by piece and put on a flatbed because we didn't know till the last minute which mountain range would hold snow in that terribly hot summer. So we had 3 locations picked out. This was the third in Washington State. 2 were in Montana. 1 was in the Beartooth Wilderness area. And we had the rangers constantly giving us a weather report to see which was going to hold snow. This one did, and we went here, and I sent that truck at the last minute. But I had the spot pre-planned for each. So they went up and put that before I ever got there because they knew where it had to be, which direction it was facing. And that's why I get annoyed when cameramen take credit for the look of a movie.
Well, I'm asking myself, how did you cue that mist? I mean, the gods are really favoring you on these shots too. I mean, it's
you have to when you shoot in the mountains, it's like climbing in the mountains. Mountain climbers will all tell you you can't climb a mountain unless you respect the mountain. The mountain will kill you if you don't respect it. The mountains will kill you because they test you. When you're shooting in the mountains, real mountains, there's always clouds moving across the sun. And just as you're about to take a shot, the cloud will come and cover the sun and tease you. And it's almost as if the mountain knows that you're on a schedule. And in movies, time is money. And you have this tremendous pressure of staying on schedule and on budget. And it's almost as if the mountain is testing your courage to remain and wait for the sun to clear so you can take the shot. And at the end of each day, when I finish shooting, I'm in the mountains. I always have a cup of coffee in my hand, and I always raise it. And I say, thank you, mountain. That's a real stag, wild stag brought in from New Jersey. And of course, it's just tranquilized.
Tranquilized,
Yes. It pops right up when you give it the antidote.
Yeah.
But because it was wild, we had to fence almost 10 square miles of national park. They're just incredibly tough, strong animals.
And see, there was an instance where you had to, it's Roman Polanski's great line, a film is the result of the compromises that are not made.
Yes.
They had sent you, there was a deer that somebody had sent you and said, oh my God, we can't shoot this deer. It's like shooting Bambi. And you had to search the country to find, a stag that looked like it could stand up to Robert De Niro. And you found it in Jersey.
Those stags are so fierce. You have to have, with all the cameras we had a man with a high-powered rifle behind every cameraman and a man with a baseball bat, a leaded baseball bat, because they're capable of taking 3 or 4 men out at once. People don't realize how ferocious they are in the wild.
Now, this was what I meant, before when I said you sort of sketched this place so well that you could find your way to Welsh's Bar blindfolded because you almost, it's right down from the factory. It's across from the church. I mean, there is that sense of knitting it together. You would never know without you explaining it that this was filmed in 7 places transcontinentally. I mean, stitching Washington to, something 2,000 miles away.
And the interesting thing here is, this is what guys do with beer. At least that's what we used to do. But
sure,
John plays the piano here, and he's really playing the piano. It's a beat-up old upright.
George Zunza, you mean? Yeah,
George
John,
Zunza, right. John is the character name.
The character name, right.
George Zunza. And he's playing a Chopin nocturne that I chose. And George does not know how to play the piano. And when I told him he was going to have to play in the movie, he said, I don't know how to play the piano, Michael. I said, well, you have to learn this piece, just this much of it. He said, I can't play. And I simply had a piano. This piano, the real one, is a beat up. This is not done in a recording studio. Put in his motel room. I said, you just learn this much on the day of shooting. And he can't play one note past the last note he plays here. And one day he finally called me up to his room and said, you ready to listen? I said, uh-huh. And he came up and he played it. And you can see by the fingering that he doesn't know how to play. It's clear to anyone who does.
It's a magnificent moment.
And again, it's the real sound of that piano in that bar. I had the same thing in Clint do, the same thing in Thunderbolt when he played a piece of Misty. He's playing the real piano, out of tune, whatever. That's the real sound. It's not a manufactured sound. And that helps contribute to the emotional density of the moment without you realizing it, because it's an authentic sound, musical sound. That's it. That's as much as he can play.
I think this is one of the greatest jump cuts. I mean, chimp throwing a bone in the air turning into a spaceship isn't more shocking, you know, I'm thinking of 2001 than this sort of cut. No dissolves, no anything, just a straight cut. Could you talk about, because that's a feature of your work. You tend not to work in dissolves or those kinds of...
Dissolve, I think a dissolve is because you can't make a cut. You know, it's an excuse.
It's something, too, to the more radical the jump. I mean, I think this is something John Updike once pointed out. He was writing about Nabokov's The Defense, but he said that, you know, when you make a jump from one time period to another that's so radical, it actually freezes what passed before. In other words, the character's childhood covers the first 5 chapters, and it boldly jumps to his adulthood without any transitional material. No transition to Vietnam, no boot camp, no anything, and that actually seals Clairton in our minds as a much firmer memory.
Well, there's no reason for all of that. I mean, who needs to see more boot camp? Who needs to see more prep for war? We've seen that in other movies. You've seen it in all the war movies, and as I've said, this is not a war movie.
Yeah.
So there's no need to show all that. It's not about that. It's not. It's not Full Metal Jacket. It's not about boot camp. It's not about combat even. It's about survival, which is a different matter. And Stanley did the boot camp bit in Full Metal fully well. I had no need of it. The guys did a great job here, I must say, the actors, because I asked them the whole time. This is done on the border of Burma, on the real River Kwai, where Lean was not able to shoot River Kwai because of the sensitivity about the deal they cut with the Japanese not invading Thailand. You know, when he made his great story, which he ultimately did in Sri Lanka. We're really on the real River Kwai here, just upriver from the real bridge on the real River Kwai. And I asked Bob and Chris and John to not take off their uniform for one whole month in the jungle. They didn't shower. They didn't shave. They slept in those clothes. They worked in those clothes. They would never change from one day to the next. They were sweat-drenched. They smelled to high heaven. And they never took that stuff off from the day we started shooting till the day we finished shooting. And there's no stunt work here. This is the drop from the helicopter, all the stuff on the river is them jumping out. And I know because I was up in the chopper with them.
And now we're on the River Kwai.
Yeah, now you see how gray that bush is next to it?
Yes.
That's how high that river can go in one night. That river can fluctuate up to 30 feet in one night. It's a very deceptive river, this river, because it's placid on the surface, but very fast just below. And the heavy run of the current is absolutely fierce, and it's extremely cold river. It's also a river that saltwater crocs come up. It's full of snakes. It's absolute pure treachery, and because of that, this compound is built on a floating platform, so that the whole set rose and fell with the rise and fall of the river the whole time we were there. So it was always this constant 4 foot between the floorboard and the river stayed the same, because the whole thing moved up and down, and you never noticed how much it moved.
Oh, very good. because shooting on water is,
It's tricky.
infamously
it's the
hell.
worst kind of shooting there is. See, so all of this
You basically built a vessel.
would go up and down day by day. And again, these are not actors. These are all just...
Yeah.
This is one of our drivers that I commandeered.
To be the referee there?
All of them.
Yeah, because
every one of them. There's not one actor there except our three principals.
They're
just real people.
Stevie! Stevie! Stevie, come down!
Yeah, the transformations in this scene are tremendous too. I mean, what Chris and John Savage are going through, and it's beautifully registered in their eyes.
When you see their beards and you see those grisly wardrobe, and again, that's how they really looked every night, every morning, because they were living and sleeping in these clothes, not shaving, not brushing their teeth, as if they were in combat. Because in combat, you don't get a shower every night.
Right. I mean, a friend of mine was a Marine in Nam. Didn't bathe for 6 months, I mean,
well, that's why I didn't want them to bathe.
Skin, yeah.
So that grit is not makeup.
Yeah.
The dirt is not makeup. That grunginess is not makeup.
How about you? Come on! How about you? How about you?
This is hard to shoot because in
fellow,
Thailand, the head is sacred. And between each take, when you strike somebody's head, you beg their forgiveness and you make a prayer. So every time they would slap one of the actors, between takes, they would bow and beg their pardon.
Tremendous.
It was hard to get them to do that.
The performances are just dynamite, especially, I mean, the fellow who plays the central referee keeps saying, Mao, Mao, that fellow, his name, I made note of it, Samsak Singvilai.
He was wonderful. Again,
Yeah,
he's not an actor.
Yeah.
None of them are actors.
Maudie! How about you? Lie down! How about you? How about you? Hang on. In! Now!
People have criticized this over the years and saying it never happened, never existed. I still get letters. I had a letter as recently as a few months ago. We're now in 2003. Just a few months ago from a journalist saying, Michael, just to let you know, there was an incident of Russian roulette up on the Laotian border 2 weeks ago.
Oh, my.
Still being played. That was the note. It's still being played.
Well, it made sense to me just on a certain level because, Russian roulette is actually a French invention. It was invented by Napoleon's officers. And so here's what Vietnam, a country that had been under the French boot heel for so long, it just made a kind of...
Yeah, but don't get too intellectual about it because it's also a very, very specific dramatic device because one of the elements of combat, a firefight in combat is usually pretty quick and noisy and loud and crazy, and at the end of it you're either dead, wounded, or okay.
Yeah.
There's only 3 outcomes. The real terror, those are real rats, by the way. The real terror is the waiting for random death. When there's incoming, you just don't know when the artillery stops if you're going to be dead or not.
Yeah.
And you just hope you're not. So it's the waiting for random death. And that's the essence of the roulette. It's the waiting which is the horror. It's not the dying. It's the waiting.
They throw you in a pit, you're gonna die.
Sit down like a wall!
Do it. You can do it.
Man!
You can do it, Steve.
How about you?
Look in my eyes. Stevie?
Stevie, look at me! Do it! Go ahead, show me the balls.
Show me the balls. Ah, fuck you. You're not doing it.
Go ahead.
Now, none of this would have any power if you hadn't spent the previous hour and a half getting to know these people. Once you get to know characters and once you get to love characters, you put them in any kind of jeopardy. And the audience is supplying the rest. People have often asked, even Stephen has asked me several times, how did you get so much tension in that? I said, well, a lot of it has to do with the hour and a half that comes before. And they don't understand that the wedding is informing this moment.
Right.
All the emotion of the wedding is supplying the emotion here. Without those moments of joy at the wedding, the camaraderie. These moments would not have this kind of strength.
Don't worry, kid. You did it.
We had a little man who we called our rat catcher who had to go out every night and catch rats in the morning. And they would always disappear by morning, and I kept getting really angry, saying, what happens to our rats every night? Well, the villagers were eating them.
Oh, God.
We were constantly on the search for fresh rats.
Now, there was something I was going to address before. Most Vietnam films, two major ones, Platoon and Apocalypse Now, were made in the Philippines. You were determined, although Philippines was a deal I gather that was offered to you, you said, no, it has to be Thailand. Or, at that time it was forbidden to film.
That's a real rat. That's for real. That's not a prop. No, I do want to go to the Philippines because the Philippines are the Philippines. It's not Asia.
Right.
It's the Philippine. It's that archipelago of islands which has a completely different geography and a completely different feel. I wouldn't have had these wonderful extras who are Asian people. Asian people are not like those people from that archipelago.
They seem very specifically Indo-Chinese. Even, Burma, Thailand, they're close enough that the bone structure is very much the same. At that time, it was forbidden to film in Vietnam, but this is as close physically as you could actually get to Vietnam.
It looks the same.
Yeah.
This was wonderful.
Oh.
That guy is just...
Yeah, what an incredible face.
I don't remember. Again, none of these people are actors. They were drivers and mechanics that I just drafted into service.
Look at him. He's in the daze. He ain't coming out. He's in the dream.
Wonderful face.
Yeah.
Like Dorothea Lange face from the Dust Bowl.
Yeah, it's true.
Cầm súng mau. Đến sư cha mày cầm súng mau. Đến sư cha mày cầm súng mau.
Gotta play with more bullets.
And you see, the Thais are interesting people because they're very gentle. But by God, when it comes to battle, they can be fierce. I mean, you watch a Thai kickboxing match, it would make your hair stand on end. They're tough fighters.
How many more bullets? 3.
As we get to know the film, based on what we know is coming, this is such a cauldron of a scene because you're watching the world change, especially under the feet of Nick. His psychological moorings are just snapping, whereas oddly enough, Michaels, played by De Niro, are coming into their own. He's actually everything he's been in training for.
Well, you
is.
See here the same game face he had, so to speak. To borrow a phrase from the NFL.
Yeah.
He's got his game face on, the same game face he had in the mountains. Sitting on the hood of the caddy with Casal.
Right.
Saying, we're not going over there to fuck around.
Right. This is this.
This is this.
Yeah.
And you're either going to come out crippled, dead, or alive. There's only 3 possibilities. And that's the terror. John comes out crippled. Chris comes out dead.
Yeah.
And Bob comes out alive.
Yeah.
The 3.
The 3 fates.
The 3 fates. There is no other.
Cầm súng mau. Mau. Cầm súng mau. Mau.
And that one-shot philosophy is definitely, it works in a kind of sense here. I don't think they've loaded the bullets in yet, or they've conspired to do it.
Those are real slaps. That's all real. It's not tricked out with sound effects. That's all real.
And see, I love the faces on their captors. Especially this.
They're not acting.
Yeah.
They're not acting.
I do 3 bullets. 3.
You notice Ho Chi Minh in the background there?
Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, and I noticed that here on Samsak here we've got just the beginnings of a Ho Chi Minh beard. You almost see what Ho Chi Minh would look like when he was young.
Absolutely. And brilliant general.
And see, it's interesting because, that people hammered you as this a racist portrait. I thought my reaction was no, that what you're showing is the sense of being in completely foreign and unknown country. It's because we've spent so much time with these guys at the wedding and on the hunt.
It's absurd to talk about racism. It's not about race. This is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they could be they could be Eskimos. It doesn't matter. It's the conditions.
Yeah.
It's the condition of life. As you said correctly, it's not about Vietnam. It's about the danger that lurks in the world, the tests that await everyone who is living, who chooses to step out into the world. If you go out into the world, you are going to face danger of one kind or another. If you want to sit in the post office for 25 years and collect your pension and buy an RV and go roast hot dogs in Yosemite and watch Phil Donahue at night on the TV with 20 other people in RVs, that's one thing. But if you want to go out into what Don Rumsfeld calls a tough big world, bad shit can happen. And this is bad shit happening. And you're going to come out of bad shit on top dead or crippled. We're seeing that on our TVs now, every day and every night, 24/7, with the Brits and the Americans, as always, and the Aussies, which are part of this crew. And they're the best guys to be with in tough situations. They never complain. They've got a great sense of humor. Nobody's got a better sense of humor than the Brits and the Aussies. Always a good morning, always a joke, always a smile, always a laugh, in the worst of times.
Yeah, you tend to work a lot with British crews, don't you, on most of your films?
Yeah, I love them. There's just nobody better. I think that's why. One of the things Stanley loved during his long exile in England, I think he loved working with the Brits. Nobody's got a better sense of humor. We forget in America that what we call our great comics, Charlie Chaplin, Bob Hope, Stan Laurel,
right, all Englishmen,
all Brits.
Yeah.
So was Cary Grant in the beginning, was very funny. All Brits.
Tất cả mọi người im. Cầm súng mau. Mau.
This is the essence of a firefight. It's quick, it's fast, and you're dead, wounded, or alive. It's vicious, violent, and over. And after all that waiting, you see?
Yeah,
that's to me, the essence of combat. It's loud, noisy, you got to scream to be heard. I mean, when a chopper's hit by incoming, it sounds like 50 guys pounding on the hull with 10-pound sledgehammers. The crew chiefs are screaming at the top of their lungs to be heard.
Speak.
Again, all of this, there's no stand-ins here, anywhere, in any of this stuff. There's no stuntmen.
Yeah, it's like the cameramen have to be stuntmen crawling into
We were. Now,
yeah.
this is a teak log that was so heavy it wouldn't float. And it's actually got a whole substructure, a hull of bamboo with oil drums to keep it. Because teak is so dense and so heavy, it's like iron. It literally floats below the surface. So to get it above like that, we've got this vast support system of flotation, oil drums underneath, to keep this bit above water.
Yeah.
And at one moment, coming down the Kwai, which has this incredibly fast current, that thing broke. Now, that's the real current taking it downstream. Now, that's really them in the water. Now, at this point, what happened was this thing was so heavy, we had to tow it upriver about 5 miles in order to get it to float down. And we had underground cables on 2 steamboats bringing it upriver. And we were waiting for it. We had 2 chase boats. This is all done on the fly in essentially one take, if you will. There was no repeating this stuff because it's done again in real time. I was in one chase boat, a little rickety aluminum boat with one camera. Vilmos was in the other. And we were waiting upstream around the bend, and I got a call on the radio saying, Michael, one of the cables snapped on the boat towing the log upriver. We were waiting to put the guys on it. And they were with us in the chase boat waiting for the log to come up. This is all free fall here.
Mm.
Then I got a second call saying the second cable snapped. The Brit says to me on this one of the seconds, Governor, I'm afraid the second cable snapped. I said, where the fuck is the log? He says, well, Governor, I'm afraid it's headed toward the South China Sea. And I said, what would David Lean say in a situation like this? He said, well, Governor, I'm afraid he'd be terribly understanding. I said, well, I'm not fucking David Lean. Get these boats in the water. Let's chase that fucking log and get the actors on board. We got them on, and there they are. And we're flying around them in aluminum boats, and at one point, that whole goddamn bamboo thing supporting it cracked in half. And the four corners of the flotation came up, and me and three stuntmen jumped in the river holding the four corners down out of camera range. And we had to stay so low, just keep our nose above the water. And I got run over by one of the camera boats, and I used my sound. It was me drowning for Chris when he slips under the water. It was actually me drowning, holding down one corner of the raft.
Oh, my.
We laid in. Now, this is the guys. We built this thing, this bridge over the river. This is our bridge over the River Kwai.
The American remake.
This is the American remake of David's movie, 20 years later. And this is all real. This is why the guys are so great. These are Thai pilots who didn't speak a word of English. So in order to get them to do something, now I'm in the chopper. I'm the guy that's going to pull it. That's my hand. Now, see that? That's me pulling.
Wow.
Pulling them in because there was not enough room. You'll see my hand come out. I dressed in fatigues. There wasn't enough room.
Wow.
In the chopper beside the pilot, me, Vilmos, and the guys. So, and what happened was because the steel cables, the rotors, the chopper was tilting. And at one point, one of the skids, you see it right there, caught under the cable and was lifting the bridge and was tilting the chopper to the rotor blade was about an inch within nicking the cable, which would have killed us all. I had to get out on the skid and lift the cable with both hands off the lip. And this all had to be done talking to a translator on the riverbank who talked to a guy who spoke Thai who talked to another guy who spoke the dialect of the pilots, and then back to the pilots and back to me. That's really them dropping.
Wow.
That is De Niro and John taking, that is them.
Jeez.
Those are not stuntmen.
So perilous. I mean, because there are real rocks under there. I mean, the character Steve hits the rocks.
To say nothing about the snakes and the saltwater crocs and the 9,000 diseases you get from swallowing this water.
Hit some rocks. Relax. Michael, okay. Relax. Come on. Stevie. Come on. Jeez.
Now you see the compound fracture.
That he can't feel anything.
Well, it's a double compound fracture on the leg, which is pretty lethal. You see it now. That's a for sure amputation.
All right, come on.
she's
Just extraordinary. The physicality of the sequence.
Well,
De Niro
as I
in a real
said-
fireman's carry with
Yes.
with the actor. No stunts, no doubles.
Well, I showed Bob how to, I was a medic with a Green Beret unit. I didn't see action, but I trained with them, and I brought all of that's the carry you use. Now, this was a secret location in the jungle that I had to go to at 2 o'clock in the morning because a war in the Cambodian front was just heating up. And the flyovers of the choppers, I happen to know the grandson of the old king. And all of this had to be done kind of in secret. We literally put 2 sticks on this road in the middle of the night and then had all these thousands of people trucked in. It was a nightmare to shoot this thing. It was all done in one morning.
It's phenomenal. It gives you that feeling of Highway 1, I guess. Is that what they called it?
Yes, it was Highway 1 runs all the way through Vietnam to the Chinese border. Goes straight through the country. There was a guy there who was an American guy who was working. He called himself a marine engineer. I think he was a CIA guy. We were surrounded by CIA guys. They were always checking us out, and I don't know for what. And the one thing this friend of mine told me was, Michael, no cameras, nobody taking pictures of the choppers or anything else here. And suddenly somebody came running up to me in the middle of all this and said, Michael, Ralph was his name. He said, Billy's going to kill Ralph. Billy was my friend, and he was always armed. He was a kind of paramilitary guy. And I went running down this line of people, and there was Ralph standing there crying, pissing his pants, and Billy had a .45 to his head, ready to pull the trigger on him. And he had 2 Nikons around his neck, really a Hasselblad and a Nikon. And I said, what the fuck is going on? He said, Ralph was taking a picture of the choppers. And I said, Ralph, you absolute asshole. Are you out of your fucking mind? And I ripped those cameras off of his neck. It must have been $40,000 worth of cameras, and I threw them as far as I could into the jungle. And Billy's gun never moved from his forehead. And he was crying and pissing his pants. And I walked away from him, and he said, he's going to kill me after you leave. I said, I hope he does. This was our very first day of shooting in Bangkok. Our very, very first day. The first shot, this was the very first setup. These are real CIA guys who I just said, guys, you're watching us from behind the cameras. Why don't you get in uniforms? We'll put you in front of the camera.
I was wondering where you got so many Americans.
Yeah,
I was wondering
they
if
were
this
all
was
following us, so we just put them in, that's all.
How did you direct Christopher Walken through this scene? Because this is really such a key moment. You had told me a little story about that. I wonder if you'd share it with everybody.
I don't know where to tell it because you don't want to disturb the scene, but he's got dialogue here. He's, of course, got the picture of Linda Merrill. And the doctor comes and asks the typical questions, mother's name, father's name, blah, blah. And we did several takes, all of which were excellent, and one was better than the next, this guy, who's not an actor also. And we got a great take. But something was still missing. I didn't know what it was. And I went to Chris, and I said, Chris, I want to do one more. He said, why? And I said, just try one thing. He said, what's that? I said, whatever he says to you, don't speak. He said, what do you mean? I said, just don't answer him. I don't care what he says to you. I said, just don't let any sound come out of your mouth. He said, okay. And I went to this guy, and I told him on the side, I said, you get him to answer you. So they each had the exact opposite direction. And suddenly, when Chris couldn't use the words, the emotion came. His inability to speak released the emotion, and that was the take. And that's the one that follows, that's cut in now. And I knew the dialogue, I had written it. See?
Yeah.
And I'm whispering by the camera, don't speak, don't speak, don't say it, shh, don't say anything. Be quiet. And this happened. That's how it happened.
Yeah, and the tense anticipation of this doctor.
Shh, and I'm going, no, don't make a sound. Don't make a sound.
We're gonna have to get him out of here.
Amazing what you can do with silence.
Yeah.
That's just, shh, be quiet. Just don't say anything.
And of course, it absolutely tees you up for this scene, you know, because to understand why he, you know, places a call to Linda and then can't go through with it. Well, we already know why. We've already been in ground zero with him, you know, just in that scene with the doctor. Because it's nice, you know, he's almost functional. He's you know, he's got the props and levers of his old self, but he's been hollowed out.
Well, guys who have been in the shit rarely talk about it.
No, it's true. And even if you, I mean, I've had friends who served in Vietnam, and even if you ask them things, there's certain direct questions they will not answer. You know, I mean, did you ever kill anybody? I've never asked somebody that, but I've heard it asked, and I've watched the look on the guy's face, and just turns it aside. Doesn't say yes, doesn't say no, won't go there. It's just
there's nothing to say.
Nothing to say. Yeah.
Unless you've been there, and then it's just a look, and that's essentially the moment. That's what the Green Beret moment with Bob in the bar at the wedding is all about. There is nothing to say. When Bob says your question, what was it like over there?
Yes.
He just gets a look, which is saying, you'll find out. And you too will not be able to speak. Because he ends up as a sergeant, the same rank, with the same decorations as the man in the bar at the wedding.
Yes. And it's very interesting to watch his homecoming later in light of that earlier Green Beret.
And this is 5,000 people on the street at night during a military curfew in Bangkok. I don't know how we ever managed this.
Great. You're recreating the legendary Tudor Street of Saigon.
This is Patpong Street, which is the street, the vice street in Bangkok. And these are a real great bar called the Mississippi Queen with real hookers.
I like that the bar refers to Mississippi in the song as the Midnight Train to Georgia.
Yeah.
All these American things. But what I like too.
Well, you know, what's our camp in the camp?
Camp Lejeune or
no, the one in Iraq now.
Oh,
Camp Philadelphia or something.
Right.
It's called. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So here we are in Mississippi. We always name.
Of course.
These are real gals. We came back later to the same bar when we did Year of the Dragon to have our rap party. One of these dancers who is now running the place. They were great gals. I love these girls.
One thing that just interested me watching it again last night was, you know, our last sight of De Niro was him disappearing into the mob on Highway 1, and then our, you know, a sort of signature sight of Walken is him emerging from the crowd on Tudor Street. So, you know, when he and Michael cross paths, it seems less of a coincidence. You do feel, you know, in a subtle way prepared for them to cross paths in this context.
And the scene that follows is just very typical. You know, you know, these girls are some of the nicest people you'd ever meet. I mean, they're all supporting mothers and fathers and grandmothers and children. And this girl.
Oh yeah. Looking like
she was my girlfriend for a while. She came to visit me at the River Kwai. She wrote me the sweetest letter, and they were just so sweet, these girls. And this is the way it was. I mean, you know, there's a baby crying or a crucifix on the wall or pictures of their mother and father, and you can't screw a girl like that.
this girl who plays the bar girl is named Nongnuj Tim Rong, if I'm pronouncing her name right.
She was just one of the bar girls.
And it's funny, this running gag almost between us, Michael, is I keep referring to them as actors, and you keep saying, no, these are real people. And, it's a tribute to the seamlessness of the performances. I'm seeing them all on one plane of reality.
Hey, look. Elephants. I gotta get an elephant.
This was dreadful because this was done in the middle. The monsoon hit just as we got to the city, and there were 3 feet of mud in this yard, and the stench here made it almost impossible for you to breathe. And this is real night for night, and it was close to the hotel we were in, and instead of having a dinner break, I would just go to the hotel, stand in the shower for 10 minutes, or change my clothes and come back in order to keep working. The stench was overpowering because in Bangkok, which used to be like Venice, it was full of canals which have been progressively filled in as the city grows. And so the garbage piles up in these streets, and when the monsoon hits, it's like the whole city becomes an open sewer. And people have gotten used to it. But if you're not used to it, it's very, very difficult. We had a wardrobe person absolutely flip out, carrying a pile of shirts into this yard, who just threw them up in the air and began screaming. We had to send them home. We just couldn't take it. This is a wonderful man, Pierre, who was a French paratrooper who was at the MBM Foo, believe it or not.
My God.
Who traded in gold, was a gun runner. Again, a non-actor.
Wow.
Mr. Critic. A non-actor who runs a restaurant, owns a restaurant, one of the best in Bangkok, called Metropolitain. And is married to a beautiful 18-year-old Thai girl, and his name is Pierre. To think that he was at the MBM Foo.
Oh, I know. It's terrific. It's part of the weird resonance of this particular passage. We're traveling backward in time now, deeper into Vietnam, or not that so much as Vietnam. He's also got all the smoke coming out of him. He's like Lucifer. The devil saying, I'm interested in what's rare and special.
He was a hard nut, tough guy from Marseille.
And see, funnily enough, his face is really great. He has the face of a distinguished actor.
Up north. Oh, yes, of course. Gotta go. But you must come in. I insist. Of what is there to be afraid after this war? The war is a joke. A silly thing. I'm going home, Ace. Naturellement, I pay my players. Cash. American.
It was wonderful. This is in an old rice factory on the Chao Phraya River outside of Bangkok. Again, in the monsoon, terribly difficult. Just because of the smell. The smell is something that you can't imagine.
Rồi trực tiếp chính trị chữ năng thì quý áo chịch hung tranh tranh kiều bò số nhá ninh nó năng thì bò xe.
It's just perfect to cut to him that he's here, that they're both.
And this is the one shot. And again, remember him on the Cadillac, one shot.
Yeah.
One shot is what it's all about. Nick.
Right.
One shot. And it's almost the same framing on his face each time.
Yeah.
Again, not deliberate. It just came out that way.
Right.
Often you do things which people see a design to, or people like yourself who are discerning critics. that you've done purely on intuition. And later you see a design, if someone like yourself points it out. You can see the filth.
Yes.
In that yard. It was just unimaginable. And again, this is really Pierre driving and really Chris running, and no stunt people in this movie, none. And I think that audiences respond to that without realizing it.
Yeah.
When it's not fakery,
right.
when it's not digital imagery, when it's not stunt people, when it's not done with wires and mirrors, people respond.
I can make you very, very rich.
And he throws the money away, you know, just,
yeah.
It's a great indication of what he's in it for, which is something you can't name.
It also shows you the power of money.
Yeah.
You can create a blockade.
And I love that it's a white car leading them to the underworld where the other white car led to the mountains, you know, they're intuitive on your part, but for one watching it now, it has just like, you know, the nice rhyming power of good verse.
And now he looks exactly like the fellow in the bar.
Just keep going. Just keep going. Until Michael gets here, huh?
And like the fellow in the bar, he can't speak. He's become that guy. That is by design.
Everybody, stay here. 3 cheers for the red, white, and blue.
And of course, a lot of people don't realize his name is not only Michael, which
right
I think is the best name for a guy, but his last name on his name tag says Vronsky. Vronsky is, as people will remember, the name from Anna Karenina, Count Vronsky. They're just to keep the Russian.
It's sometimes remarked on the sort of Tolstoyan tempo that you get going, but I don't think anybody's picked up on the actual
Vronsky,
actual Tolstoyan high sign there on the name. Yeah.
No, they haven't gotten that one yet.
And here, John Cazale, you know, he's got a mustache. I mean, and the clothes are of a different cut. You really do feel the passage of time in a very subtle way. Like it's been
now, mind you,
years
this was all
by.
shot backwards. This movie was done exactly in reverse. All of these things were done before all of the other things. The funeral was one of the first things we did. The singing of God Bless America was done in the first week of shooting. It had to be done sequentially because of production consideration. Everything was done backwards. Not easy thing to do. Just from an acting standpoint, a dramatic standpoint, you had to have a very clear chart in your head of where you were going with things. Because you were shooting the result before the action, so to speak.
Yes. And you have to create very clear kind of physical realities around the actors so that they know where...
Yeah, I mean, you're directing backwards. I mean, this is done before he suffers. This is shot before the prison camp. This is shot before Vietnam. This is shot because one of the things is the beard. The beard had to go.
Yeah.
Everything without the beard had to be shot in one, you know, and the beard, because you can't, I didn't want to do a glue-on beard. So when he has a beard, it's a real beard, and when he doesn't, he's really shaved. So, and here you see that I love this particular moment.
Yeah, I do too.
Sitting against the wall. Can't even get in the bed.
Yeah, and he's huddled like somebody in a rice paddy. I mean, it's an actual. He's in a.
And that's
an Asian
the view.
stance.
That's exactly what it looks like across the river. Believe it or not, some old steel workers retired to houses on that river overlooking the mills, oddly enough, that they worked in their whole lives. And the lovely music by John Williams was a tape that my producer, the woman who really produced this movie, Joanne Corelli, she knew the composer Stanley Myers before I did, and she introduced me to him and gave me this music actually before I made my first film. And I loved it so much, I tried to use it on Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. But Clint thought it was not appropriate. And he was the producer, and a great producer. And I just kept it in my library. I had a 15 IPS tape, and I pulled it out when we made this. And then we flew John out here to record it at Sony. Now again, you see all this is browned.
Yeah.
All this is shot now before Vietnam. This was all done at the beginning of the schedule. And you can see that trailer is placed there so you can frame it against the mill. And it's painted red, white, and blue, you'll notice.
Yeah, right. You know, when you were thinking ahead to making the film, did you take into account the idea that the Asian footage would have to be the most physically demanding, and therefore rightly does come at the end because that's, you know, where
No, it just was necessity purely, all up and down the line. It was just the way it had to be for reasons of schedule and money and everything else. It just, funnily enough, many movies I've done have had to do the end of the movie first.
Yeah.
Which is very difficult. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, Jeff had to die before he was kicked in the head.
And you prepared a chart of how they...
I had a chart with a neurosurgeon friend of the symptoms of that kind of concussive blow to the head killing someone and the physical deterioration in order to shoot it backwards.
Yeah. It's a little critical note, you know, there they were in front of the louvered window, which sort of rhymes with the shot earlier in the movie where we see Merrill and Chris behind it, so it's sort of like...
And him peeking in.
Yeah.
There's the airborne.
Yeah.
There's the airborne patch. And
the name Vronsky.
There's Vronsky, Michael Vronsky, Count Vronsky.
Yeah, the lover as opposed to the...
The lover of Karenin, not the husband.
Right.
In this case, the husband is dead.
Yeah.
The real husband is dead.
Yeah.
And Vronsky comes back.
Right.
To Anna.
Yeah. Well,
you can have a field day with that.
Students, get out your pencils.
Yes. He's also got the ranger patch on.
Yeah.
He's got the marksman badge.
Nothing. He's AWOL, that's all we know.
Could be back.
He never wrote to me. He never called me.
Well, maybe you were out.
Yeah, now you had been, you know, being a medic attached to such units, you pretty much came to the film with a whole body of knowledge, but did you also, get Green Berets and Rangers involved to just sort of square everything away? And, yeah.
Sure. And even the evacuation of the embassy sequence, Joanne Corelli I'd sent her to the 3 networks, and she went, there was 3 million feet of film between the 3 networks of 16 millimeter film, not tape in those days, which was just lying on the floor in rooms because nobody thought it was worth anything, and producers would come in and cut a piece out, and it was just a mess. And I said to her, go in there and put together an hour of film, because I wanted to use it when we got to Bangkok to kind of show the crew so that they could just feel Vietnam.
Yeah.
And these are all stories that had not been shown on the air. Stanley later went through I kidded him on Full Metal. I said, you're going through the same footage we went through, but now it's catalog, Stanley. It's a lot easier. You got the easy job, the easy part. We joked about it. We joked about his doing the whole Vietnam thing at the gasworks in London. I said, God, why'd you want to fly in those 3 silly palm trees?
But... just in terms of the authenticity, you had managed to get everybody...
So we had this hour of footage, and, because, the evacuation of the embassy, people forget, was as late as 1975. That's when the famous chopper shot that you see in the movie, where the chopper leaves the roof with the last load of people from the embassy. And so there were a lot of journalists still very fucked up and drugged up and drunked up and everything else, living in Bangkok, still whacked on the war.
You're always such a gentleman.
And were they present at the fall of Saigon?
Yeah, so there were all these journalists, and I don't know what provoked me to do it, but I said, when we had a screening in the hotel, in the Oriental Hotel in the Chao Phraya with a crew, and they gave us one of the ballrooms, and we're just showing it on the wall. We didn't even have a screen. I said, let's invite all the journalists. So all of these fucked up journalists came to this screening. And we start running this footage of these news coverage of Nam. And guys were jumping up in the dark saying, I shot that story. I shot that story. That's my story. And guys were popping up like jack-in-the-boxes. They were seeing stuff that they shot in combat that had never been aired on the networks. They were so excited and so... They were like kids unwrapping Christmas presents. They couldn't believe they were seeing their stories for the first time. It was so emotional.
Linda, I just want to say how sorry I am about Nick. And how I know how much you loved him.
This was the first setup. This was the very first shot of the movie.
That you filmed, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
this
wow.
is the first shot of Deer Hunter on the street, to show you how, for all of you film students watching, the tricky old game, this movie making.
Yeah.
And when the evacuation of the American embassy came up, which is exactly as you see it,
Yeah.
we staged it, one guy got up and he said, that's me, that's me. And he ran over to the screen and he was pointing to himself. And he's saying, look, this guy standing on this oil drum with this camera, that's me. I was there on that day. I said, you were? He said, yes. I said, well, tomorrow I'm going to put you on the same barrel in the scene. So the part of what adds to that scene is the guys who were there on the day are there on the day when we did it.
Fantastic.
Michael, look who's here. Hey, everybody. Oh, Michael, I read about you.
I love this little bit, the woman who can't stop kissing Michael, seeing everybody in their different roles. This is a wonderful little sequence, I thought.
It's hard to believe it's the first sequence in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, shot schedule-wise.
Yeah. Well, again, like the sequence in the POW compound, this has tremendous power because of everything that's gone before. I mean, it fulfills all the old theories.
Yes, but think of just all of the calculation that you have to do to get them in the frame of mind that you need them to be in.
Right.
Even the look that you need, not having done all of the other things yet.
Right.
Including the wedding, as that was nothing. The ceilings in these mills get blown with holes. There's always explosions.
Yeah.
Because whenever hot iron or steel hits a puddle of water, there's an explosion on the roof.
Come on, how about you be a great friend? Huh? All right, just one. Hey, Axel. Hey, Stocks. Axel. Hey!
Hey! Hey! Look at this! Hey!
Michael.
Mikey! Hey, man, how you doing?
All right.
Hey, where was you? Where was you?
What do you mean, where was I? Where were you?
Where was you? We had everything all set there. The beer, the right, Axel? Am I right?
Hey.
Huh?
I got the lead.
Hey.
Got a mustache.
Yeah.
Hey, looks pretty good. It's cute. Yeah, it looks...
Come on, we're going to John's.
But what's interesting is, like all good actors, they're using what they've got. I mean, if they're really only getting to know each other for the first time as they're doing this homecoming, the uneasiness is there because in a sense that's what they are doing. I mean, after the experience that he's been through, it really is kind of starting at square one with everybody.
Same old thing, Nothing's changed. I'm getting more ass in the toilet seats, and Axel here, he's getting fatter than ever.
instead. Why don't you show him that gun? That little pussy thing.
I love too the tensions here, between Michael and Stanley, because it's like, he asks Michael that direct question, "What's it like getting shot?" And it's like he says, "Well, you don't feel anything if that's what you're worried about." It's such an important line, and it's such an important statement on the distance between them.
Well, you can see on television now that we've got these so-called news people embedded with element combat units.
Yeah.
The people back here talking to the people embedded with the units are always asking, how does it feel? How does it feel to be in a Bradley fighting vehicle? How does it feel to be in a sandstorm in a tank? How does it feel when shrapnel goes off? How does it feel? How does it feel? Those are all questions coming from people who don't know how it feels.
Right.
And they want to know.
Yeah, it's a completely understandable question.
Oh, shit, what did you do? Win the war all by yourself? Look at this stuff here.
Well, from you.
Huh? Here we go! Misha.
And you feel with this sort of aggression and energy that the John Cazale's Stanley there, could have been, maybe in another...
It's also very important, keep in mind, that Bob is the ultimate macho symbol in their group.
Yeah.
He is the alpha male, and now he comes back not only as the alpha male, but as the decorated alpha male.
Yeah, right.
And the survivor of the greatest Holocaust of their generation. These guys have got to show their macho-ness. So what are they doing? They're drinking straight shots.
Yeah.
With that dreadful booze they drink. And that's why Stanley's got his gun.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the war. Axel wasn't in the war. It's just a thing that goes down with guys, where you've got to be, I'm as tough, you know, it's like, I could do it, Mike, if I were,
Right. It's like at the back of the wedding, John, played by George Zunza, said, I'd be going except my knees,
Yeah, right. If I didn't have, exactly. If I didn't have bad knees, I'd be right there with that, pick up a machine gun. It's like Bruce Willis saying, hey, if I was 18, I'd go over there with a machine gun. I'd be right with the troops. Well, I hope so, too.
Here's the baby who is not John Savage's. Steve knows is not actually his.
Chris's.
Yeah, it's Nick's.
Nick's, yes. It's Nick's son.
Yeah.
By Rutanya. And he's blonde.
He's blonde. He's got a gun in his hand.
He's got a gun in his hand and he's pointing it. That's deliberate.
Yeah, it's great and it's so natural at the same time.
Angela? I heard Stephen was alive. Where is he?
The Screaming Eagles.
This is a wonderful, intense scene. I really like her performance very much here. This is very similar to what you were getting out of Chris Walken in the hospital.
Yeah, and God bless the Screaming Eagles as we speak. And the Royal Marines, the Irish Regiment, Coldstream, Guards, the 101st,
Where is he?
the 7th Cavalry. God bless them all.
You gotta tell me now, where is he? Do you know where is he? Take care.
A lot of these guys who came back, a lot of the paraplegics who came back, did not want to face their families. A lot of them ended up in San Diego. A lot of them they'd stay in places like Cleveland, and the hospital you will see that follows is a real spinal ward with real Vietnam vets in it. Again, those are not actors.
Yeah.
That's for real. What's coming up is absolutely for real and draining to the point of unconsciousness when we shot there because they were real patients. The drug nurse would come around every hour or a couple of hours of medication and be administering drugs. And while we were playing the scene with Bob and John Savage, reunited, I remember one vet, and John is saying something like, "You've got to go back, Mike. You got to go back. You got to get Nick. You got to go get Nick." And from the back of the ward, I hear one of the vets. These are guys who are never going to move for the rest of their life. They're stumped. They've got no legs, no arms. They can't see. They're blind, but they can talk. And I hear one guy say, "You got to go back, Mike. You got to go back, man. Get Nick, man."
Ugh.
The hair on my neck stood up. I went back to the hotel that night and almost fainted from just, I can't describe it.
Yeah.
It was...
Oh, well, as we'll see. I mean, it's the draining energy of that place does come through. It comes through the camera. And I was saying that, there's a very deliberate kind of indirection in the progression of these scenes, which I really respond to because it's so lifelike. It's a lot like, it's prefigured by, Nick, Chris Walken's character, not being able to place the phone call to her. And he has not been able to place the phone call to Steve yet. It's just, he's not ready to go there yet.
He can't, he's asleep.
Asleep, fully dressed on the bed there.
Right. I think it's as eloquent as you can make it. Vronsky and Anna.
One very tired, dead Vronsky.
Yeah. And as always, the mill.
I gotta put my can down for this one.
Now this is again yet another city in the
Right.
so-called Rust Belt. This is Youngstown, Ohio. Bolodrome. Everybody's busy pretending everything is great. Now, Bob looks exactly like now, standing in this bar like the other fellow, the Green Beret in the wedding.
Oh, yes, right.
Paul D'Amato, wonderful actor. Because, he had no lines, really. But look how similar the look is.
Yeah.
The face, everything.
You sure? What do you think of her? No, come on, I don't know, Stash. She's beautiful.
It's interesting, too, because having seen that scene, and D'Amato really was wonderful in it, having seen that scene, you as an audience, what it appears to be going on here is that Michael is making an effort. He's trying not to say "fuck it," but he's thinking it. It's like it's the offbeat between every word out of his mouth. Is she beautiful? Yeah. No.
Right.
The truth? No.
No.
And this is such a guy thing too. The guy who's so insecure. You don't think she's intelligent?
She's good in bed.
Why'd you ask her?
And when Bob and I hung out a lot, we had this conversation 100 times ourselves. I'm ashamed to say.
Well, this is cinema too. I mean, it's lovely how much there is in just a traded look. All the dialogue in the world can't cover can't cover the universe that's in that glance.
No.
Chuck Asperger.
It's like your wonderful description to me of Tolstoy's singular description of Anna. What was that?
Well, yeah, it was William Faulkner had praised Anna Karenina because he said, Tolstoy never tells us anything about Anna except that she was very beautiful and had eyes that could see in the dark like a cat. Nabokov pointed out she also has beautiful curls on the back of her neck, but that's it. You assemble
eyes that can see in the
dark like a cat. From that you as a reader invest your sense of beauty and whatever it is you feel about cats and curls, and that's it. And Tolstoy trades on that for 600 pages.
That little incident, again, was actually something that happened to me with a bunch of guys in the bowling alley. One of them got stuck, and we had to pull him out feet first.
God.
Great. I just replicated it. That's why it's kind of a home movie. Now, this...
Yeah, how did you cue the mist on this one?
I didn't. I cued Bob on this one. I got there and I saw this and I screamed. I said, Bob, I call him and I get up here, run, get your fucking ass up here as quick. What? I just get up here. I screamed to the get the fucking camera here, throw on the zoom and get up here, run. Forget the tripod, forget it, stick it here. Bob, walk across this ridge. What do I? Just walk across the fucking ridge, start shooting, roll the camera, walk, and this is what you're seeing. Just that. Just me out of control, screaming, walk on the fucking ridge, roll the camera, just roll, shoot, walk. Just keep walking. I'll tell you when to stop. Keep walking. Just walk. And the mist disappeared. There was only one take. But the mountains gave me that. That was a gift from the mountain. That was a gift, that shot. As was that, as was this. These are gifts that are given back to you because of your respect and your love. If you believe in these things, if you believe that all things have spirit, even the hail which falls from the sky, to quote a line from Sunchaser, then it's possible for you to believe that nature can give you something. If you believe you're a part of it, and it is a part of you, that there's an exchange, just as there are between people. Look, above the cloud level. You're looking down at the clouds. You're above the clouds, literally. Look at that.
I know.
These peaks are above the clouds.
Oh, how sweet it is.
And these clowns are above the...
Sitting above the clouds. Sitting in heaven and not knowing it.
Yeah.
Imagine being in heaven and not realizing it.
Yeah.
Axel, I got one! Hey, fella! I got one!
This is one of the reasons I gave up hunting.
Yeah. Now this, I mean, especially knowing, as we know, that he's been shot and doesn't like to talk about it. And it was interesting because he took that bullet in the escape from the POW compound, but never even remarks on it in his body language. He has the bullet in him and is still wired and functioning. Okay.
God smiled on us that day.
Such a beautiful scene of a man's truce with himself and with his world.
See, that's the kind of neon license thing that you wear when you're hunting. There's always something magical about waterfalls.
Mm-hmm.
What's that stupid little gun doing up here?
See, Axel doesn't have to do what
Right.
John has to do because Axel's secure in who he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to prove
that thing. Yeah.
And Chuck, as a real steel worker, is that way.
Yeah. Right.
Doesn't have to prove he's a tough guy.
Stanley, you're so full of shit, you're gonna float away.
Try me! You try me! Just say it!
You're
Come
gonna
on!
float away.
Ow! Ow! Hey!
Take it easy, Mike.
What the hell was that for? What, you think it was loaded? Give me that! Go.
You want to play games? All right, I'll play your fucking games.
This scene, by the way, we played with a live round in the gun.
Jesus.
Bob came to me and Bob said, Mike, you think we could put a live round in the gun and help me play the scene? I said, are you crazy? He said, no, ask John. I went to John. I said, John, Bob would like to play this with a live round in the gun. Well, the whole crew thought I was nuts. But John just looked at me and he blinked and he said, okay. He said, but I have to check the gun first. So I went back to Bob and I said, Bob, John wants... John says it's okay. He said, oh, great. But then John drove him crazy by checking the gun. It took him a half hour to check each shot of Bob gun. But it was played with a live round in there, a real live round, not a load, a live round.
Wow, method acting meets common sense.
You know, there's such a misunderstanding of so-called
no,
method acting.
I'm just cracking a...
All Stanislavski really talked about is common sense, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so simple and plain and understandable, and it's been so perverted and misunderstood over the years.
What is the most important thing about working with actors, as you understand it, as you've come to understand? I mean, clearly you were fully formed with them working on this, but what's the most important thing that a lot of people don't understand about working with actors?
That they're all afraid. They're always afraid, and you always have to deal with that fear. The best actors are afraid of a part. They don't know how they're going to play it, but they know they can play it. That's a great actor. But there's always fear, and your job is to overcome that always, and to build up an element of trust so that every adjustment, they're trusting your eye completely.
Yeah.
So that every time you give them an adjustment in a scene, they know that will create an improvement. Building up trust with them is the single most important thing you must do, and it's why you must know something about acting, all of you film students out there. Please take some time to study acting. It will teach you to be a better director and teach you to be a better writer and teach you a lot. Study acting. It will teach you what you don't need to say, what you can express by what you do and not by what you say.
No, I think I'll go with him.
Eagle Supermarket, interestingly enough.
Well, that was the real name.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean,
I didn't put that there.
I wasn't making an accusation, but it's like the gods smile on all these sort of little touches, you know?
Yes, they do. They do. I mean, if you honor them, they honor you back.
Well, there is something about creation. I mean, you know, what do they call it? They call it sympathetic phenomena. You know, like if you're...
Well, nobody ever evoked the same beauty from Monument Valley as Ford, because nobody loved it as much as Ford. And nobody, I believe, and you're the critic, has ever succeeded in making a successful film in Monument Valley since Ford.
No, they all look
They've
like
tried.
Yeah, they look like pale poster versions of Ford. I mean, like the Back to the Future films and various others.
Because they don't love it, and it didn't love them back.
Yeah, and they were loving the movie that they'd seen rather than he had passed through there as a young man.
Exactly.
And had lived it. It was
exactly.
And
he made that movie in a time when the crew lived in tents, and there was a camaraderie, and there was a life experience. You played cards at night with each other, and maybe 4 guys slept in a tent together. And
he could speak the Apache language, too.
It was different.
Yeah.
It was a different time, and the place was important. It's very important for me to find my own places, and I don't want to shoot where somebody else has shot. I don't want to put my camera where somebody's been before.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to shoot somebody else's territory.
Yeah.
I want my own. Every wolf marks out his own territory.
It's true
and
that
if you want to be an alpha wolf, if you aspire to that dubious distinction, you mark out your own place.
Now, after so much wandering, well, it's not quite wandering, but now that his relationship with Linda is cemented, he can go to see John Savage. He can make it through the hospital.
And this is tough.
What I was going to say before about sympathetic phenomena, that's what they say when if you break up with somebody or if you're going through a period of grief, and it's like every song on the radio seems to speak to that grief. I think in creation, when the creative impulse does a similar kind of editing on reality. It's like when you know where you're going, you have a clear sense of your goal. It's like suddenly things fall into place around you, or it seems that things are provided. That seems to be what was happening for you here.
And 40. We have a bingo.
These guys are so medicated. This is not a directed scene. This is a thing really happening that I just slipped John into in a specially designed chair. They didn't even know. They thought he was
one of them.
One of them. This is not staged. This is a game going in a real hospital with real guys zonked out of their head on every kind of drug you can think of. And John has just slipped in there. This is not organized by me. They think John is one of them. They didn't even know we were
filming
aware of us shooting.
Think it over, buddy boys, and I'll give you old 61.
Now, this is the real spinal ward coming up. These are not extras, these are real. This is Cleveland. All these guys are real vets, real amputees, real nurses, exactly what it looks like. When I was scouting this, I was in the spinal ward. And there's a guy, a vet in bed, with the most beautiful blue eyes, motionless, staring kind of at the ceiling. And I went over to talk to him. His name was Michael. And we talked for 5 minutes. He had the softest voice, the gentlest manner. And it took me 5 minutes to figure out he was blind. Not only could he not move ever again, but he could not see.
What did he say?
I couldn't speak. I can't now, even recalling it. I'm afraid I can't talk here.
Hey. Michael. Steve? Stevie. Hey, I gotta go, Mike. I gotta go. Curfew, man.
Stevie! Steve!
Here we have the leader of the group going to rescue. It begins the passage of rescue in the film. It's like the final movement. It must have been so hard to film in this place.
It was draining, absolutely draining. That's that decoration. This is not anything. This is all real. I think somehow the audience feels that.
Good, sure. We made it. We made it. We made it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
And this is where I heard this guy from the back, one of the beds. You gotta go back, Mike. You gotta go back.
Wow.
I went home that night in the hotel in Cleveland. I almost passed out. I think I did pass out just from being drained.
Yeah, no.
You didn't get it, dear?
Didn't get anything. No.
Huh?
I know.
I
was tracking this beautiful buck.
It's just so bleak to think of those poor guys just sitting there playing bingo. You know, and yet
the guys in this room won't even get to play bingo.
Yeah, right.
They're never getting out of those beds. Where you see them
is where they
now is where they still are today. 20 years later, they're not moving. And the drug lady comes every 4 hours or whatever and gives them stuff that...
This comes every month from Saigon.
There's the elephant that Nick wanted to buy when he was with the prostitute.
And of course, you know the elephant is a symbol of good luck.
Yeah.
It's Nicky, Steve.
Nick's alive? Mike, hey.
What'd you say?
How do you know? Hey, that place is gonna get caught in a terrible shitstorm. Where's a guy like Nick getting money like this?
I don't know, cards maybe. Listen, Steven, I'm gonna take you home.
Oh, shit, Mike, you promised me. Come on. I don't fit. Look, hey.
I'm gonna take you home.
Look, man, look. You promised me, man. I don't fit. Michael. Hey, I'm sorry. You do as your heart tells you, man.
There's a book written called, wasn't a book actually, it was a collection of letters of vets. It's called simply NAM, or Letters from Nam, N-A-M, a big N-A-M. And it was a letter from a black sergeant, I think it was in Detroit. He said, he was writing to someone, he said, I just saw this movie, man. And he's referring to this movie, and he said, I don't know what happened, man, but the choppers are coming up the river, man, and all of a sudden the hair started to get up on the back of my neck, man, and I couldn't sit in my seat, and I started shaking, and I fell to my knees, and I crawled out of the theater on my hands and my knees, and I don't know what that was, but that wasn't no movie, man. I don't know what that was.
Nick Way!
This
is the embassy.
There's the guy.
Yeah.
The photographer. See him there?
Uh-huh.
That's exactly how it went down. You see the chopper taking off on the roof. That's exactly how it went down. There it is. Last chopper out.
Hi,
Those guys, the guys at the cameras were there, the same guys on the real day.
Yeah.
Are back. They were freaked.
Man, that must have,
freaked.
Must have seemed like very bad acid they were on at that moment.
MACV. That was like CENTCOM now. War hasn't changed much, has it? Still fire, blood.
Here we're at the Mississippi Queen, which is now a ghostly wreck.
Hey, where are you going?
Where you going? You coming me?
Oh, the same girl from before.
Yeah. Oh, so you're not aware of these moving shots?
Yeah.
You don't even think about it. But every shot, that camera's on rails. One of the reasons I think I went from painting and design to movies is because I just feel the need to move in space, to work in a three-dimensional space as opposed to a two-dimensional plane. And the last thing I want you to become conscious of is how I do it.
C'est pas le moment de se promener. Faut filer maintenant.
You remember me?
Ah, je comprends pas l'anglais.
You remember me?
Je comprends pas l'anglais. Désolé. Je dois partir.
You remember Nick? Remember Nick? Where is he?
I don't know. Really, I don't know.
And again, as a reminder, this stuff had to be shot before all the combat stuff.
Oh my!
Because you see, the beard is on here.
Right.
So it was still on when we left the States. So all of the things in Thailand with him with the beard had to be shot first.
Right.
And the last thing was shaving the beard off in order to do the combat. Tricky.
What do you think? You think I'm afraid of you?
I want to play the American. I'll match him. Highest stakes.
Je crois que je suis aussi fou que toi.
How do you bargain with the devil when hell is closing shop? Offer him enough cash, double his quote. Do whatever.
Most Americans have a hard time understanding how cheap life is in so many parts of the world.
Only because I feel comfortable with the whites.
Oh, this was a nightmare to shoot. This is 9,000 extras, men, women, and children, all night long, coordinating distant explosions. 9,000 people, boats on the river, trucks, vehicles. This is one shot now.
Speaking, as you did before, of digital and special effects, now they often enhance crowds, and
this is not enhanced.
This is not enhanced, and you can feel that, and the energy enters the performances too. It enters. I mean, De Niro's, whatever he's reacting to, he's in the middle of a colossal thing, and it's there for him to draw upon.
Oh yeah, and a great actor like Bob draws on everything.
Yeah,
he draws details from everything. It feeds everything in a way that is not easy often to analyze.
Allez, viens en vitesse. Oh, tu viens, oui? Qu'est-ce que tu attends? Come on! Voiture.